Soldier Front 2 transitions into open beta. Firefall completes its final closed beta milestones. NCSoft releases the Aion 4.0 update. Wargaming is unhappy with the Xbox Live subscription, and more on this week's episode of Free to Play Weekly. Area Games has now opened up their FPS Soldier Front 2 to everyone following the game's transition to open beta. The shooter has added additional content since its relatively limited closed beta, starting with the new timed escape mode. Escape sees one team fighting their way towards an extraction point while the opposing side attempts to delay them. In order to ensure their escape, the team on the run must also reach and activate a beacon which will call in their rescue helicopter. 4 new maps and an expanded arsenal of weaponry including the AUG-A3 and the RPK-74 were also added. Unfortunately, the open beta is still limited to just North American regions. Terra has added a new PvP battleground called Corsair's Stronghold. The multi-phase mode is available to all players starting at level 30 and pits 2 teams of 20 in an all-out attack and defense scenario filled with battle tanks, airships, cannons, and siege ladders. Each team will take turns attempting to capture and defend the Anchorstone objective, which is fortified inside a large imposing fortress. As the invaders, players will assume the role of swashbuckling pirates and attempt to penetrate the fortress defenses by either scaling the towering walls, using siege tanks to breach the gate, or hopping into an airship to float above the base and drop down on the enemies below. The defenders aren't entirely powerless, as they'll have access to their own defensive guns for destroying enemy siege weaponry and bringing airships down. While the new battleground will match everyone from level 30 to 60 together, players can expect their stats to be equalized across the board, with the exception of each player's crystal slots. Players will also only have access to whatever skills they've unlocked up until then. The PvP patch also sets the stage for some larger content updates scheduled to roll out later this summer. The summer updates will bring about a new alliance system and raid dungeon. More details will be made available in the coming weeks. In a recent interview with GamesIndustry.biz, Wargaming CEO Victor Kisley spoke of several grievances he had with the recent partnership between Wargaming and Microsoft to publish World of Tanks on the Xbox 360. Unfortunately for Wargaming, Microsoft is enforcing its policy of requiring players to pay for an Xbox Live Gold membership if they wish to play any game online, free-to-play or otherwise. This did not sit well with Kisley, who said it's unfortunate that World of Tanks will not be 100% free-to-play. This we have to tolerate, which I'm not happy about, Kisley says. I would rather add another 30 to 40 million non-golden members, and they will monetize occasionally. In the interview, he goes on to talk about how Wargaming will be advising Microsoft on how to embrace different payment models. Currently, Microsoft is only allowing credit cards to be used in order to purchase Microsoft points, which Kisley says is suicide in free-to-play. In the future, he hopes to coerce Microsoft to embrace other payment models, such as SMS. Beta testing is set to commence soon for the console version of the popular tank simulator, with potential esports plans later down the line. If you're interested in learning more about the Wargaming interview, be sure to head on over to the official article on MMOBomb. What do you think about the partnership between Microsoft and Wargaming? With less than a week before its official open beta launch, Red 5 Studios has added the final closed beta update to their open world MMO FPS, Firefall. The update added a new PvP game mode called Jetball, and Firefall's first story-based episode, Blackwater Anomaly. Jetball is a mix of capture the flag and basketball, with players attempting to fly or shoot a ball through each team's goal. Teams will have to work together to defend the carrier or pass the ball to each other, since whoever currently holds the ball is unable to defend themselves. Red 5 believes this mode will be a popular addition to Firefall's esports scene. On the PvE front, Blackwater Anomaly is the game's first 5-man dungeon and will kick off Red 5's world story reveal. Each group will be able to venture into the melding to investigate a nasty anomaly that's appeared within Blackwater Marsh. During their investigation, players will discover more about the melding and uncover new details surrounding the opposing NPC faction, the Chosen. Red 5 also released a small teaser for Firefall's upcoming live-action trailer, which will be revealed when the game goes live on July 9th. With all the changes Firefall has undergone since its closed beta began 2 years ago, are you still excited about the open beta? NCSoft has released the North American version of Aion's 4.0 expansion, Dark Betrayal. The expansion sees the usurping of the primary evil, Lord Tiamat, with the presumably even more evil Bariktra left in her place. Major highlights of the update include 2 new classes, an increased level cap to 65, new skills for all pre-existing classes, 2 new zones, and 11 new instances. For those interested in the PvP side of things, 4.0 has also added 3 new fortresses and 6 garrisons for players to fight in and over. While these are just the highlights, the patch includes many more enhancements such as extensive class balancing and UI updates. For European players, the Gameforge edition of the 4.0 patch is still a ways off, with a scheduled launch sometime in August. However, the North American version of Aion is not region locked and actually offers fewer free-to-play restrictions for players, so you may just want to play on them anyways. SOE has detailed an upcoming update for their sandbox MMO FPS, Planetside 2, which will allow players to create their own dynamic missions. Up until now, the recent Planetside 2 updates have primarily centered around adding new weapons, a vehicle, UI changes, capture mechanic adjustments, and so on. Starting in August though, players with the appropriate squad command certifications will be able to generate their own mission hotspots that can be viewed by the entire Empire. In order to do so, the mission systems will ask for specific actions in specific locations, and then provide bonus experience for players that accept them. Unlike traditional quests, a player can only accept one mission at a time, but they will have multiple mission types to choose from. These can range from airstrike requests, which reward greatly increased experience for pilots, to logistical missions, which grant extra XP for Sunderer deployments and repairs to any deployment vehicle. The variety of mission types will ensure that players who prefer to perform a particular role can find appropriate missions for that playstyle. And the game of the week is Age of Wushu. Age of Wushu is a PvP-focused MMORPG set during an idealized version of Ming-era China. In Age of Wushu, players can choose to train from 8 different schools of martial arts, each with their own iconic fighting styles and weapon choices. Progression does not come through traditional leveling, but instead by using cultivation points to improve your individual skills and overall stats over time. Players can generate cultivation points by doing practically anything in-game, including just standing around. The combat in Age of Wushu captures some of the most intricate moves found in Chinese wuxia films like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, with players dashing through the air or running across water while engaged in skill-based combat. There are no auto attacks in Age of Wushu. Instead, players will need to accurately time their skills in order to land or block attacks. Players can engage in PvP events throughout the day, which range from battleground raids to more unique missions, which may task a player with spying on enemy schools without being caught, or patrolling their own school in search of suspicious players. Even while a player is offline, their character is still involved in the world of Wushu. Offline characters become persistent NPCs, which perform duties around the cities and can even be kidnapped and sold by opposing players. If you're looking for an MMO with stylized combat, gorgeous scenery, a unique progression system, and a variety of open-world PvP options, then be sure to check out Age of Wushu. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Free to Play Weekly. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and also head on over to our website at MMOBomb.com for more free-to-play action. I'm the Dank.